Let's just confirm. Ernest Mabasu, that's you, and Vita Kupe. Just very briefly, today is your first appearance in court. I've just had a look at the charges, but the prosecutor will inform me of all the relevant charges in due course. First things first, there are three options today when it comes to the issue of legal representation. First of all, you can appoint a private attorney or advocate that you pay for yourselves. Secondly, if you cannot afford a private attorney or advocate, you may apply for legal aid, which is of course free of charge. And thirdly, you can also conduct your own defense. However, looking at the nature of the charges, I will not advise you to defend yourselves. Do you understand your three options? Right, Mr. Gadebe is the legal aid attorney attached to this court, and he will complete the necessary application forms. Mr. Gadebe?
Thank you, Chief. Taking the leave of having completed application for all parties on and if so please the court I can be placed on the court for the discussion at this point.
Right, Mr. Mahunye, what exactly are the charges? There are numerous charges according to the charge sheet, so can you just indicate exactly the charges and the nature of it so that we can determine the scheduling?
That is right. It's in council.
Can I just stop you on the 7 counts of murder? Is the state alleging that this was premeditated and pre-planned? Or is the state alleging that it was just the Schedule 5 murders that we ordinarily refer to?
No, it's a
Right, so the 7 counts of murder, which the state is indicating is premeditated and pre-planned, in fact, well orchestrated, to quote your words. The other charges?
That will be
in respect of which accused? I was just getting worried there for a while. So in respect of accused number 1, there's an additional 3 counts of rape. Yes? Right?
And lastly, section 86.
Right. It's quite clear then from the nature of the charges, especially the murder charges, that this is a Schedule 6 offence. What is the state's position on the issue of bail?
Where the state is opposing and they also put this in the code that accused number 1 from Zimbabwe, according to number 2, is from the
So on top of everything else, not just on the facts that the state is opposing bail, but also pertaining to nationality. Let me just give me that accused 1, you say is from Zimbabwe, and accused number 2 from Mozambique. Just confirm. Can I note it as such? Is it correct?
Yes, it was like misleading.
It's still, of course, this is it's allegations at this stage. Yes, no, I'm fully aware of that. It's just for the record purposes. I need to know the reasons, and I know it is mainly based on the fact that the state is alleging premeditated murder. Yes. Okay. No, I'm going back to you, Mr. Gadebe. What I need to know, you said that I'm to put you on record at this stage. Going forward, have you canvassed the issue of bail with your clients, because the state is opposing bail?
Yes, Worship, I have canvassed the aspect of bail, Worship. In respect of accused number 1, Worship, will not be doing a clarification in this one. However, in respect of accused number 3, Worship, I would like to bring a clarification as soon as it wasn't in the course of the Worship. It is my instructions that his papers have been provided to the police, and we advise that it is the purpose of identification. If my colleague can confirm that aspect, we know that indeed they have this documentation.
So at this stage, we you're asking for a date for a bail application in respect of accused number 2.
In respect of accused number 2,
Have you looked at dates yet? Because our diaries are very similar, Mr. Khadebe.
Indeed, Your Worship. Before we look into the dates, Your Worship, I would like to also address you in respect of, that is why, Your Worship, I said earlier on, at this point, I'm appearing for problem.
Yes.
There seems to be a great possibility of a conflict of interest, Your Worship, between accused number 1 and 2. And given the fact that accused number 1 is not going to bring up an application, Your Worship, I think it would be prudent that I get a judicial team to appear on this behalf. However, in the interim, I shall be proceeding to bring the application for accused number 2, the bail application for
I think the sense of urgency is not there because the bail application is not in respect of both the accused. Then it would have been posed a problem at this early stage already. But if there's a conflict of interest and only one person brings a bail application, I don't think it will pose a problem. It will most definitely pose a problem when this matter goes on trial.
Yes, so being that I will try also to expedite the process and possibly by the date of bail application, we might have a judicial team available. I'll try to expedite it, but if it doesn't happen, still, it won't be a tense matter. Like you said, that is not being enough.
Yes, and do you know with which of the accused you are then going to proceed and which of the accused a judicial appointment will be made at this stage?
Because we run the risk of not having a judicial on the next occasion, I'll better proceed with accused number 2, given the agents of the application. And then the judicial will be here for accused number 1.
Let me just... Yes, that makes sense. It does make sense. Right, Mr. Khadebe, let me just confirm with the state about the papers in respect of accused number 2 and from a time point of view so that when we set a date, everything is ready. From the state side, Mr. Mahunye, can I just find out, apparently accused number 2's papers have been provided to the state or the investigating officer?
But I'm concerned about something. There is the request of a testimony.
Yes. Yes.
But that will be for 7 days.
Is that...
So there will be a problem now if we are able to do it for formal only for 7 days.
But I think Mr. Khadebe and I might work around that and work with the 7 days.
Between the 7 days that we appeal, then postpone again for formal only accused.
You see, I'm in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act, I'm actually bound by the 7 days. Why don't we work on 7 days? Then, Mr. Khadebe, that's my suggestion. The problem that I have is bail applications are urgent applications. So, although the court roll has been planned months in advance, bail applications will always receive preference. So and that is a turnaround time of 7 days. And then trial matters, for example, will just have to be sacrificed. That's how it usually works. Mr. Khadebe, I'm sure you agree with me.
I indeed agree with you, Worship. However, I had my colleague's application to suggest that after the first 7 days, we'll set it down again for bail application. Of which I'm opposed to. This investigation that is going to be held in this respect is only in respect of accused number 1. Who's not bringing an application? And I don't see then why can't we, on that 7 days, bring an application in respect of accused number 1.
Yes. So,
partly I agree, partly object.
Okay. But as I discussed with the prosecutor, I am bound by the 7-day turnaround time in terms of the Criminal Procedure Act. So I'm suggesting let's go inside our day or our date for bail application with the return of accused number 1 after 7 days. That's where I'm at.
Which brings us to the 12th.
That's next week, Monday the 12th.
So the application for number 2 will be had.
Yes, I'm setting it down for a bail application as well.
Thank you.
And then I'm making an order for Johannesburg Central for accused number 1. Mr. Mahoney, please confirm with your investigating officer his availability for the bail application on Monday.
Yes, we should do that. The court may even want him for
Mr. President, please no one's got his hand raised now.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Just very briefly. Yes, certainly, Mr. Mahoney. That's a very valid point. Mr. Gadebe, the prosecutor has raised a very valid point. We need to just address the issue of language, because if we need a special interpreter, we will have to already today make arrangements for those interpreters to be present. Yes.
Thank you, Worship, for indulgence. Worship, he instructs me that he's been in South Africa since 1975, and he's very fluent in pieces of worship, and there won't be a need for any interpretation.
All right. Thank you. Just one or two further explanations. In 2004, the bail legislation in this country was changed and effectively made a lot stricter than what it used to be. In instances where accused persons face serious charges, a court has no authority to informally deal with the issue of bail. The only way that bail can be considered is after hearing evidence. It is also referred to as a bail application or a bail hearing. At this stage, I've been informed by Mr. Gadebe that accused number 1 is abandoning the bringing of a bail application, but that accused number 2 wishes to bring a bail application. In respect of accused number 2, who wishes to bring a formal
Well, we're coming out now of the Lenasia Magistrates Court, where it's the first appearance of the accused in the Vlakfontein multiple murder case. And the judge there saying that accused number 1 does not want bail and number 2 wants bail, but the magistrate also making it clear the terms of the bail application, saying that a law that came out in 2004 tightened up the bail requirements, saying that if it's serious charges that are being considered, bail can only be considered once some initial hearing has been begun. Let's go back there.
Is then formally postponed to next week, Monday, 12 November 2018, specifically for a bail application in respect of accused number 2 only. Lastly, I have been informed by the defense attorney that there might be a conflict of interest between the 2 accused before court, and that he will not be able to represent both the accused. He will therefore make arrangements at his office for a second attorney to be appointed for accused number 1. Do you understand? Thank you.
And as you have it there, accused 1, Ernest Vusi Mabaso, has abandoned his bail bid. Will return here again next Monday, where the second accused will apply for bail Both are being held at the Johannesburg Central Police Station. We know that as the gentlemen or the accused made their way down to the cells, the community, they were just hurling comments, calling them Satan, and just very angry, but also relieved that they are now in police custody, and that accused one has abandoned his bail application. All attention will return to this court on Monday again, when accused 2 will then bring a formal bail application. We are just showing you now as the throngs of community members exit court. They'll obviously continue in revolutionary song outside where the others are waiting. A lot of tension around this particular case, knowing how shocking it was that those bodies were recovered in that Vlakfontein residence a week ago. So we'll get some comment now outside from the MSC of Community Safety around what has transpired from court. We'll also get a comment from Pindi, from the NPA, and we'll get some community comment around how they felt, seeing the faces, but particularly the face of what is now accused 1, Ernest Mabaso, and what they felt like. We'll bring you all that after we exit court. I don't have comms.
All right, we'll go back to Gillian Pillay once she's able to take her resources outside of the court and talk to a few people, as she said there. But there you have it, accused number 1 and number 2 going to the Joburg Central, at least the magistrate said for number 1, and one has abandoned bail and the other one wants to continue to have a conversation about the possibility of getting bail. Let's take a look at